Hey everyone, welcome to our JHOP clinic. So we had an amazing session the other day. Of course, I dealt with some technology issues, and so we didn't really get the whole thing recorded, but I'm never gonna let you down. So I thought that I would just take the time to get on here and create one video for you that's basically a summary of everything we discussed in clinic on Thursday. It was awesome. Thank you to everybody who submitted questions and who also just kind of came and hang out for a little while. It's super beneficial to me as an instructor to have these conversations with you, and I hope it's beneficial to you as well. Great to just have the chance to kind of break some of these things down. So one of the first things that came up was a lot of us that, have kids or pets, that get down on the ground and play, often feeling very hunched over and compressed and sticky and gross was one of the words that was used, after being on the floor for a while. And how is there a way that we can stretch, while we're on the floor, as we're being, trying to be active, again, with dogs, with cats, and with children. And the first thing that came to mind for me was to try to make it playful. To remember that pets and children are looking up at us the entire time, and so when that perspective changes and we're down on their level, they're completely tickled. Yeah, and I think of this in terms of just watching you get down on the mat with me and Pilates and in burnout. And the second you do, your dogs and your cats are just jumping all over you because they're like, hey, you're down here on my level. And kids get really excited by that too. So make it fun, make it a game. When you're playing peekaboo, instead of necessarily getting down to like their level and hunched over and being all, we get kind of like no-necked and cramped and short here. If you're playing peekaboo with your baby, can you do a roll up with it, right? So we're here, where's mommy? Where's mommy? Peekaboo! And you gotta roll up through your spine and your shoulders are open. Oh, here I go. Where's mommy? Peekaboo! And you can do the same thing with pets. You're hiding from them, Pet, pet, pet. Yeah, where are they at? Where are they at? Chase them around. As the kids get older, get them to stretch with you. If they want to be involved with you and they want to play games, then get them to make rainbows, and you get to do some side-to-side stretches. Can you roll your shoulders? Where are your shoulders? Here they are. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, roll those shoulders out so that you feel like you're moving while you're engaging with the pets and the children that you love. And just remember that doesn't always need to be one-sided. Yeah, that it can be reciprocal and that they want to be part of your life too. You don't have to kind of compress yourself down to their level, that there can be some mutual benefit, of them getting involved in your world and your routine and you getting involved in theirs. All right, so those are some kind of thoughts I had on seated things that you can do. Butterflies. Oh, what color are butterflies? My son's dance teacher always used to do that. Oh, we're making butterflies. Okay, what color is your butterfly? Da, 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 da. Oh, a little side stretch. Oh, let's make a pizza. And so, I'm down here on the floor. Even if I'm playing with my dog, I can open up into a stretch. Yeah, and pet, rub the belly, whatever. But Mikey's just gonna sleep on the bed for now. But there's lots of stuff that you can do. Yeah, just to make it fun. Yeah, okay. So there's that. One of the other things that's always, excuse me, just a reoccurring theme is hip flexors. How do I get out of my hip flexors? I want to stress something that I gave in a Burn Club modification video one time. That having strong hip flexors is essential to your overall well-being. It has to do with your gait, your ability to get up and down stairs. Yeah, you want your hip flexors to be strong. Okay, so if you're feeling them, don't think that you're doing something wrong or that you're not engaging something else properly. What I agree we want to avoid is that really sharp, crisp, aching sensation that we get into our hip flexors. Yes, this is what we want to avoid. What I can guarantee is that the further up you are on your sits bones when you're trying to balance with your legs in the air, the more the front of your legs and your hip flexors are going to sharpen and engage in order to counterbalance your body. All right? The more we go for that C curve, that's when I say, C curve, go south of your sits bones. Yeah, I'm right here up on my bony landmarks, south of the sits bones. The more I curl, the more my abs can take the weight of my legs without my hip flexors needing to be dominant. Not disengaged, but not dominant. Yeah? And you know, it's your body. Get in touch with it, right? So I'm gonna poke my thighs, yeah, sometimes, and make sure that I'm pressing my sits bones. Ooh, that just took me deeper. Yeah, I'm pressing my sits bones forward and out, and not like a lever pull, pulling my legs up, because that goes straight into my hip creases. So think about getting deeper into the C curve. As the abs get stronger, your ability to do that is better, yeah, more achievable. Also hamstrings and glutes. That's why we do so much of it in burnout, because the more 360 we have in those legs, the less we're just reliant on the one side, okay? So trust that the hamstrings and the glutes, you know, all that work is gonna get you there. Trust that your core is gonna get you there, but you have to think 1 inch below your belly button. Your abs don't just stop up here. Yeah, your abdominal wall goes all the way down here, and you got to find that C curve so that this real deep engagement can happen 1 inch below your belly button, and that's gonna take the weight more and more and more and more. The other thing I mentioned is just a game of numbers, okay? And I wrote a newsletter about this a while ago, and it was basically like 23 hours versus 1 hour, right? What you do in 23 hours is a lot more than what you do in 1 hour. And that 1 hour, by sheer averages, right, by sheer logic and numbers, cannot completely undo 23 hours. So if I'm sitting at a desk for 8 hours, 45 minutes is not going to completely undo all that. So don't set yourself up for unreasonable expectations in that regard. Ask yourself, is there 5 minutes that I can give right before class, where I can, my mat's all set up, I'm ready to go, where I can get down, and instead of being here, yeah, which is basically a seated position, I'm going to take that hip flexor and I'm going to stretch it out, gently grab my ankle, press my pelvis forward, and start elongating my hip flexor now, before class. Get it warmed up. And of course I have to do that on the other side, because we have to be symmetrical. Yeah. So that I can even just add those minutes towards caring for my body and not being stuck in one position. Think about all the time you spend in your car. What do you do every time you switch from gas to brake? Yeah. Hip flexor. Okay? So play little games with yourself. Lift with your glute. Sit up taller in your car and engage your core to lift your leg. Don't let it distract you from your purpose of driving. But think about it. It's just, you're in that position for so many hours a day. Those of you that work at desks, or those of you maybe going back to long commutes, etc. Your body's in that position. How can you stack the odds a little bit more in the other direction by just adding those few minutes? Yeah. Remember that it's not all going to happen right when we start working out together. If you can give yourself that little edge of stretching that thing that gets tight, that gets sore, even if it's your hip flexors or whatever, before class, you're just going to be that much further along once you get going with the workout. So that's that. We're going to apply that into 2 exercises. Well, really 3. We're going to talk briefly about one leg circles, roll-ups, and kneeling side kicks, because those are the 3 actual kind of movements that came up in clinic. So let's start with your roll-ups. All right, those dreaded roll-ups. So this is a perfect opportunity to get in touch with your thighs, yeah? And the reason so believe it or not, half roll downs are considered a beginner exercise. When you get to an intermediate level class or an advanced class, you don't do them. You go straight into roll-ups. I believe half roll downs are crazy hard when you do them correctly. And I really believe in them as an essential exercise. And so almost every single Pilates class and burnout class that I teach, they're included. That's why. I want my sits bones to come completely off the mat and press forward into my fingertips. I want to not lean back. You can see this is a hinge. My lower back is flat, and if I keep going, my rib cage is basically down before my lower back. In some extreme cases, my shoulders may even come down. Yeah, people that are really stiff in their back or might have come out of an injury. So what I really want you to do, because our shoulders are strong, yeah, I want you to take the shoulders out of it. Don't think about moving your upper body. This is how you set up for getting out of your hip flexors more into those deep low abs. I'm not going to think about moving my shoulder blades. I'm really thinking of rolling, you can see, just one little bone at a time, down into the mat. Shoulder blades stay down. The crown of my head is lengthening in opposition. And right here, I'm basically down through my L's. My mid-back didn't touch the mat at all. And I went back up. All right? Pressing your heels down also helps you not get into your quads, because the more you grip your quads as you go back, that's when those legs start lifting, because again, your body wants to balance itself. It's just a natural like survival instinct your body has. It wants to do that counterbalance. So making sure you're giving it something to do. I'm giving my lower body something to do. I'm pressing forward and into the mat. This time I'm getting into my thoracic spine, right to my shoulder blades, and then pressing forward still with that lower belly, lower back, yeah? I'm coming up, okay? That is why we do that warm up, so that I am not just hinging and lifting from my hip flexors. The big message I had with all of that, as we get in now from the half roll down to the roll-ups, is not to be competitive and ego-driven with yourself, all right? I am, trust me, I know and I get it. All right, as a Pilates practitioner, I know in this workout, my goal is to get up. And so come hell or high water, I'm gonna get up. Yeah? And you get there and you're keeping up with class and you feel like you're doing all your reps, but you are never actually going to train the muscles necessary to do that exercise properly, safely, on its own without that momentum and push, okay? We are on the mat. We are on the floor. You can't fall down, okay? So, when I get, my legs are long, my hip flexors are extending through the back, and most importantly, through the front, and most importantly, through the back. A lot of times I see this lift. This is a great modification, but eventually you want to drive those legs forward and long in order to get that counterbalance. But let's say I get stuck here. That's the worst thing that's gonna happen. And I promise you, nobody cares if it does, all right? I care that you're using your abdominals. I made that effort, I hit my abs, boom, I'm working, I'm engaging, I need to reset. Okay, that is a successful exercise, all right? To me, as your teacher, that is success. All right, because if I constantly push my shoulders forward, and again, I can be just as guilty of that. All right, but I'm never gonna change or learn how to engage these muscles right here through the serratus. Yeah, your lats pulling down, armpits, all that stuff I talk about. That is crucial to your roll-ups, to your teasers. Yeah, as we get into reverse plank, all of that stuff that actually lifts the shoulder carriage is never engaging because it's constantly just pushing forward through momentum and like kind of brute force, all right? So the key lesson to all of that is fall down. Fall down if you have to. It's fine. One of the other exercises, kind of tools that I was giving yesterday or a couple days ago was to hit your sticky spot, okay? So when my sticky spot is here and I really feel like I can't go any further without pushing, then I roll back down 2 inches, all right? Then come back up 2 more bones. 1, 2, maybe a third, and then roll it down, and roll it up, and then roll it back down. Wherever that sticky spot is, through your mid-back or your lower back, play that game of bones and inches, yeah? Up 3, down 3, up 2, down 2, up 1, down 1, up 3 again, down 3, yeah? So do that little game with yourself. Again, that's another thing that you can do right before class to get your spine nice and warm, and just to get your spine in the practice of malleability, yeah? Because that's really what we're doing. It's all about flexibility of the spine. It is not about proving that you can roll up, all right? You can, okay? The idea here is to really nurture your spine, to be flexible, bendable, move, yeah, because just like with trees, yeah, the stiffer that, I don't know what I was gonna, I was gonna go somewhere dirty, all right? But you know, those branches break, okay? Let's stick with that image, all right? You know those branches break, okay? So we want your spine to not be too rigid, okay? We want it to be able to sway, all right, and move with the wind and your movement. Yeah, so anytime I bend, I go down, I go up, that my spine is able to travel with me and not, yeah, snap, okay? So there's that. So that's kind of the abbreviated version of what we discussed. One other thing that really plays in here is your one leg circles. So somebody asked, how do I keep my hips stable in my one leg circles? And it really plays into that hip flexor again. So right one leg circle. So my right leg is up in the air, my toe has to be pointed. This left leg, you can see just naturally, the knee wants to bend and there's space and air and light under my leg. I want to drive that left leg forward because already I can feel that gorgeous stretch through the front of my leg and I can feel my glutes engaged. And that's going to help stabilize the trunk. Okay? As I cross my right heel over to my left shoulder, I draw a circle around and up and around and up. And this is where I want to bring up the issue of ego again, okay? So these circles do not have to be big, all right? And there's no ribbons or special prizes for being able to make large circles with your leg, okay? What you will get body rewards with is the ability to engage your core and stabilize your body so that nothing else moves when you do add momentum and larger movements to the body. All right, so I'm pushing through my left heel. So my note was make smaller circles. Yeah, make smaller circles. It's fine. Yeah, take your time. And then as you really feel solid on one side to the next, yeah, then maybe you can open up your oval a little bit more. Yeah, and the advanced version goes toe to toe and then toe over your nose, where it's a really long circle. And don't forget that your upper body plays a part in that too. So I need to be pressing my shoulders back. The more I kind of lift you can see how my base gets really wobbly when I'm tight in my shoulders. So open up your chest, reach your fingertips forward, and then really engage your low abs. Yeah. And again, with that circling leg, here's something I should have added. The more you force from the hip crease, the more that's actually like a punch forward instead of a circle. I think, yeah, let me try to explain that a little bit better. So if I'm just pushing my quad down, you can see there's more of a ricochet. If I imagine that leg is coming all the way from my lower abdominals and I'm pulling up as that leg goes forward, I am so much more stable in my hips. And that's so, remember that in your mind, you need to be pulling up through your lower abdominals and lengthening forward through the leg to get that beautiful opposition in each direction, okay? Last thing we'll apply this to is your kneeling side kicks. We've been doing a lot of these lately because whenever one of my members tells me that they want more of something, I give it. So when Jess several months ago said I really want to work on teasers, we've been doing teasers all the time ever since. Kneeling side kicks are a thing right now, so we're doing it because they're hard and they're awesome. All right, so when you set up for kneeling side kicks, this knee is forward. Yeah, and you can see that my foot is hidden. It's playing hide and seek, okay? Now you see me, now you don't. It wants to stay right behind that knee. Now, make sure this arm stays right underneath your shoulder. A lot of times I see people too far out, and you can't balance on this leg. You see how I'm off my knee? You want to be right over that knee. The other thing is you don't want to be facing down to the mat. You want to rotate your ribs completely forward, all right, in space, and push this hip crease forward. And even now, feels like an amazing stretch, okay? Now don't over tilt so where your hips aren't stacked, all right? You wanna be here, but don't wanna hinge back, all right? You want to press forward and then you start your work, all right? Keep in mind when that leg is long, it can be a hip flexor stretch every time. You just have to think 50% from the front and 50% from the back, all right? So just because that booty tucks under doesn't mean it can't lengthen down. All right, and continue that stretch through the back. So that is the abbreviated version of our first clinic. It was so much fun. Send in your questions and thoughts on our second clinic, anything Pilates related, class related, muscle related. We can discuss some wellness stuff, scheduling, accountability, whatever. But it was super fun to get together and just kind of do our first JHOP clinic, and we'll definitely keep these going. And just let me know your thoughts. I'm here for it. All right, thanks JHOP community.